Hi, it's Walter Burns from Keller Williams City Life Realty and livingonthehudson.com for this week's Living on the Hudson weekly recap. Jumping right in, a link down below here on YouTube, you will find the market snapshot of the market in the past week. Feel free to download it. It updates every week, and this discusses the inventory levels, available properties, how many are available in the various markets that I'm discussing here, under contract, how many went under contract in the past month, the absorption rate, that's the pace at which each market is selling, and the months of supply that are available, and then finally year to date, how many have sold. So that updates weekly. That's linked down below. I did not come across any news articles relevant to the Hudson County real estate market as far as development or new projects. So nothing in the past week I came across, but I'll be happy to update that as I come across information. Looking through the list here of properties that went under contract. In the past week, there have been 84 properties that have offers accepted on them in the Hudson County MLS. So under contract, 84 properties in the past week. Last week, it was 97. So we are down from last week. These properties had an average list price of $866,000 and a median list price of $794,000. Last week, the average was $791,000. So we are up this week. And the median was $729,000 last week. And the median price is up this week as well. Days in the market, these average 35 days in the market. The median days in the market was 19 last week. It was 29 for the average and 20 days for the median. So medians is about the same. Average time went up a little bit. Looking through the list of sold properties. So I'm going to highlight some of the sales here. In Hoboken, there were two sales that took place last week that closed in the same building. 318 Madison Street, unit number 5. Here you have a 2-bed, 2-bath, 1,349 square foot unit. Did not come with parking on 3rd and Madison. This listed for $1,299,000. It sold for $1.2 million, 139 days on the market. Went under contract in late August. It closed on October 15th. This property also came with a roof deck. So the other property that sold, unit number 3, which I'm going to go over in a few minutes, did not come with outdoor space. So this property here, this 2-bedroom with a roof deck, sold for $1.2 million. At 319 Madison Street. Did not come with parking, but there are several garages nearby where you can rent parking. And then you can see here the staircase that's going up to the roof deck, which I'll get to. Here we go. And it came with this private outdoor space with, looks like it had a skyline view. Now, unit number 3 in the same building came on the market. This was on the market only 5 days. 318 Madison, number 3, list price $1,099,000, and it sold for $1,099,000. 5 days in the market. 2-bed, 2-bath, 1,200 square feet. Probably a very similar layout, but it did not have outdoor space. So here you have unit number 5 with the roof deck selling for about $100,000 more. And that's valuation is in line with what I usually see roof decks sell for. Sometimes they sell for more, and the run on outdoor space is the value, I should say, really increased since COVID. They weren't as desirable pre-COVID, but since there's been more demand for them. So here, this building also has private elevator. So here you have 2 units, very similar, selling $100,000 apart, and the one with the roof deck selling for $1.2 million, and the one without selling for $1,099,000. Over in 159 14th Street, unit 4R in Hoboken. This is a walk-up style building. There weren't any large-scale building sales in the past week. That's why I'm highlighting some smaller buildings for everyone. But I also want to show like different price points of things that are selling in Hoboken. Here you have a 2-bed, 2-bath, 4th floor walk-up, unit 4R, selling for $702,000. It sold for full price, 63 days in the market. When I first started selling real estate in Hoboken in the early 2000s, this was like what a lot of the condo buildings were like. Starting in the mid 2000s, like 2006 timeframe, is when you start to have a lot more development of larger scale buildings in Hoboken, your Maxwell Places, your Hudson T buildings. 1450 Washington, etc. More of the concierge full-service buildings. But the old school Hoboken buildings were like this, these walk-up style buildings. They still exist. There's still a lot of them in town. But here you have a fourth floor walk-up, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, selling for $702,000 on the market about 2 months. Moving into downtown Jersey City, the Wells Fargo Loft Building, 299 Pavonia Avenue, Unit 1-8. Here you have a 3-bed, 2-bath, 2,564 square foot loft. List price was $1,725,000. This sold significantly over asking for $1,925,000. $200,000 over asking, 7 days on the market. Also came with parking for 1 car. Wells Fargo Lofts, about 30 or so units in the building. It was developed from a horse stable from the Wells Fargo Bank in the 1800s into apartment condos in like the early 1980s. The Condo Association also owns a parking lot, which is located a block away on Monmouth Street, so Pavonia and Monmouth. So everybody has like an outdoor spot. The building has a virtual doorman. It's an elevator building, but the units there are large. I've seen spaces between 2,000 to 5,000 plus square feet. And how they are designed, I'll just go backwards. The bedroom areas many times have to be constructed. So they're like lofted. They are built above the living room or the kitchen. So here you see several rooms here that were built out of the space. This unit looks like it was recently updated, meaning updated probably in the last 5 years. Some of the spaces there are more original. There was a space a few years ago on the market that was completely raw. Some of them I've seen are 1980s designed. But I'm seeing people who are buying these going in and renovating. So here you have an updated loft over at the Wells Fargo building, and this sold for $1,925,000. Moving over to something on the other side of downtown Jersey City, 10 Regent Street. This is the Sutton building at Liberty Harbor. This is unit 817, 2-bed, 2-bath, listed for $899,000. It sold for $885,000, 91 days in the market. This was 2-bed, 2-bath, 1,116 square feet. I showed this property when it was in the market, and this went under contract early September, and it closed last week. The Sutton building over at Liberty Harbor is a concierge building. They have an outdoor pool. They also have a fitness center, large residence lounge, children's play area, social media area. So a social, meaning social club, and also there's like I think there's a screening room over there as well. You also have indoor parking on site. There's a garage in the building that's available to rent. You have rental parking on site in the building. Not far from Grocery Path, not far from the light rail. So that has sold over at 10 Regent, Liberty Harbor for $885,000. Moving to the Jersey City waterfront in Newport, 75 Park Lane South, unit 706. This was a cash purchase, 2-bed, 2.5-bath, 1,326 square foot unit. It was a corner unit. List price $1,485,000, and it sold for full price, $1,485,000. 75 days in the market. This is in Park and Shore. Park and Shore is 2 separate buildings. You have 75 Park Lane South, which is where this building's located. Then you have the Shore House, developed by the same developer. That's 2 Shore Lane, which is right across the street. You have this is the high rise. This is the newest building that was built in Newport. That's a condo building. Newport is made up of condos as well as residential rental buildings. There's around 5 condominium buildings in Newport. This is the newest of them. It's a concierge building. You have large on-site fitness center, indoor pool, large residence lounge area on the first floor, as well as another residence lounge that's located, I think it's on the 20th floor or so. And that also has like a kitchenette area for reserving for parties, also a walkout roof deck. So very nice amenities in the building. Parking available to rent off-site. So right next door is the parking garage. You can rent parking. And you're also not far from Hoboken Path as well as the Newport Path. So this is sold over at Park and Shore for $1,485,000. That's a 2-bedroom. Moving into West New York over at Grandview number 1. This was a 2-bed, 2-bath, 1,280 square feet. This is 22 Ave at Port Imperial, unit 522. List price $888,000. It sold for $865,000. 20 days on the market. Also came with parking for 1 car. Grandview number 1, which is 22 Ave at Port Imperial, and Grandview number 2, which is right across the street, which is building 20 Ave at Port Imperial, were developed by the same developer who was K. Hovnanian. Building was built around 2005, 2006. And this was a south-facing unit. Looking south here, this is the Hudson Club, which is another condominium development just south of Grandview. Building has on-site 24-hour concierge. They have an outdoor pool, a large fitness center, residence lounge, on-site parking. You're also not far from shopping. In the Port Imperial section, you have a lot of shopping options. So Acme Supermarket, you have restaurants, you have liquor store, Starbucks. You're not far from the Port Imperial Ferry Terminal as well, only a few blocks away. And the bus to New York is very close. So this is sold over at Grandview number 1 for $865,000. And finally, up in West New York at Jacobs Ferry, Bulls Ferry, 313 Midland Court. This is a 3-bed, 2.5-bath townhome, 1,872 square feet. This sold listed for $1,195,000. It's sold over asking for $1,220,000 on the market 37 days. This went under contract in late August, and it just sold last week on October 15th. Also came with parking for 2 cars. This is the Jacobs Ferry, Bulls Ferry townhome community, located basically about 70% of this community is in West New York. 30% of it is in Guttenberg. This property was on the on the West New York side of the community, and it sold for $1,220,000. And I'm going to go over the history of this property in a few minutes because I actually sold this property 10 years ago. So just to give you an idea of how prices have appreciated over the past 10 years. And this is located right next to River Road here. It was an end unit. The property was updated, I would say, about 8 years ago. I originally sold the property in 2015. I'm not the owner of it, but when I say I sold it, I represented the seller in 2015. At that time, it was a short sale. So this is coming off the financial crisis. It was a short sale, meaning the seller owed more to a bank than it was worth. And in 2015, this sold for $530,000. It was not updated like this. The person who bought it in 2015 was the one that did the major renovation. Bulls Ferry and Jacobs Ferry, they have 2 outdoor pools there. All the homes come with 2-car parking. You have 1 indoor spot and 1 outdoor spot. They also have a children's playground. You have the shuttle to and from the community, shuttle to the ferry passes through the complex. And the bus is right across the street on River Road to New York. So in 2015, this sold for $530,000. Then in 2018, it sold for $800,000. So the person who sold it in 2018 did the major renovation. Then again, it sold in 2023, so 2 years ago, for $993,500. Then it sold again last week for $1,220,000. So in 10 years, it sold 4 times. You might say, wow, that's a lot of turnover. That's about the average turnover in this market. The average homeowner in this market, it sells like in the 2 to 5 year time frame. So it's sold 4 times in 10 years, originally for $530,000. Then it sold for $1,220,000 last week. So not bad appreciation over the past 10 years. Thought that'd be an interesting exercise to show you market appreciation. Link down below, you get the market snapshot as well as all the condo developments that I discussed from my website, Living on the Hudson. If you have any questions about the Hudson County real estate market, feel free to contact me anytime at walter@livingonthehudson.com or 347-448-3766. These videos come out every Monday. Feel free to comment, like, or subscribe down below. Thank you for your time. Have a great day.